I was 16 in a social studies class, the teacher asked each of us to stand up and talk about our dreams. Talk about what we wanted to do with this life. At 16, you're asked what you're going to do with your life. Well, as it turns out, many of the students in the class knew what they were going to do with their life. My buddy Jack was going to be an architect, he is. My buddy Jim was going to follow in his father's business, and he did. Donnie was going to be a pharmacist. We had farmers, we had teachers, we had truck drivers, we had good, solid, all-American dreams. Well, of all the dreams, mine were the most extravagant, the most unrealistic and naive. I was either going to be a professional baseball player or a jazz musician or a writer. Well, 10 years later, of course, none of that happens. And there's the thread to the title of the book, Dreams and Detours, because I've had several of each. And if you never read anything but the very first poem, the first 4 little lines, you'd kind of know what this book is about. When young dreams vanish like leaves in the wind, they leave behind the souvenirs of a life. So what do? Then that dream kind of goes up in smoke. What do? We sort of reevaluate and we learn from that stumble, or that, I hate to use the word failure, but you come up with a new dream. You massage that experience with everything else into a new dream. And maybe it takes 2 or 3, in my case 8 or 9, but that's kind of where this narrative goes, if there is one. There's a hospice connection that I want to mention here that's kind of important. Well, first let me tell you that the book originally was going to be a simple, inexpensive little paperback book of poems that I've been harboring for years beside the Chevrolet and real estate commercials in a drawer somewhere. But my wife said, well, why don't you take it up a notch? Why don't you make it a coffee table worthy book? Get your buddy Mike, my best high school chum, who's a wonderful photographer, and collaborate, and he can match up some things with your words, and then we'll make it a charity project. My wife's a big volunteer with hospice and with Planned Parenthood. So I thought, well, that's a great idea. So we were able to give Hospice of Central Iowa, HCI, where my wife's a volunteer, in December, a check for $10,000 from the proceeds of the book, along with 120 books. And the money will be used for those patients that can't afford the care that hospice provides. And the books hopefully will go to the families when they register at the 2 residence houses, in hopes there might be a word of comfort in the books. So it's been a real feel-good kind of a project, and we're really proud of being able to do that. The hospice connection goes back to 1987 when Gail's mother died. And I'm going to read her poem that I wrote for her after she died. And she had the most incredible, wonderful, inspirational nurse. The Gail instantly decided she was going to take the training and become a volunteer. And she did. 20 years later, her father dies, same nurse. So hospice has really touched our family. I've had 8 or 9 aunts and uncles. Both parents have had wonderful hospice care. So it's real for us, up close and personal, it really is.